Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to Great Books, Big Ideas. I wanted to do a Friday reads for Saturday, May 25th. It's a belated Friday reads. I meant to do this video yesterday, but we had to take our Mac Mini to the Apple store for some repairs, and that took a lot longer, and we have to wait a couple days to get it back anyway. Anyway, we had a whole afternoon in King of Prussia Mall. Fun. Anyway, so I did finish a couple books this week, and I wanted to start with a book that I read on my Kobo reader, and that is The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbery. This was a book, I think it came out in 2008, written in French. It's translated into English. And I knew nothing about this novel, but thanks to one of my viewers, Vicky, she gave me a recommendation and said, yeah, I think you might like this. And Vicky, you were absolutely right. I loved this book. I loved it so much. It's not a very long novel. I'll give you the premise. There's a few spoilers I will not give away, but the premise is it's really a sort of a two-point of view novel. It takes place in Paris in a upscale apartment house with many families living on the different levels. And the focus is the protagonist, Renee, and she lives on the first floor. And she's in her 50s, and she's kind of frumpy, and she's an autodidact. She's self-taught. She reads literature and philosophy. She's very cultured, and she watches films and loves music and all the rest of it. And she doesn't want anybody to know it. She hides that all away back in her loge in her apartment, and she likes to sort of put the mask on and put up the face of being the stereotypical Parisian concierge. Frumpy, kind of seen by the more upscale residents of the apartment house as somebody to pay no attention to. And she likes it that way, and she just wants to kind of live in her little closeted world. She's a widow, and we learn a lot about her life and her views of the world. Very literate, lots of cool allusions to writers like Proust and Tolstoy and a lot of classic great books, which I'm all about that. So I enjoyed those angles. I loved her philosophical speculations on things, and just an interesting character. A very great character-driven book. The other point of view is Paloma, a 12-year-old, super precocious, intelligent kid who lives in one of the families. I think she lives on the 5th floor of the building. And she is sort of a troubled, too smart for her own good type of kid, and she's planning to commit suicide on her 13th birthday and set her apartment on fire. Yes, so we read a lot of her journal entries, her ruminations on life, her observations of things, and we see her character develop over the course of the book. And then a very important character comes along in the middle of the book after one of the residents in the building passes away. This Japanese guy, he moves into the apartment house, and he's very much the gentleman, very civilized, cultured, very amiable, seems like a real gentleman. And he, I won't give too much away here, but he basically befriends Renee and brings her out of her shell. And he also befriends Paloma and brings the woman and the girl together, and they become friends. And then some things happen that I will not give away. There's some big reveals, and also some sad things that happen in the book. But it's a bittersweet book. It's great blend of lightness, some satire, some cynicism, but some of these gleaming moments of sort of beauty and gentleness, and the small impacts that people can make on a life that have actually larger impacts over the course of time. And it's a beautiful little book. Again, one of the problems with my reading life is I read too many old books and not enough new ones. So this one wasn't even on my radar. So once again, thank you, Vicky, for the recommendation. I really loved it. It was it's a book that actually made me tear up at several points towards the end as the book was climaxing and it reaches its ending, and just a really just lovely lovely little book. And it was made into a French film, and I've only been able to see the trailer. The film is called Hedgehog, and I cannot find a distributor where I can get access to it in America. So if anybody knows how I can get my hands on this film, let me know. But it looks like a nice, faithful version of the book. But treat yourself to the book if you haven't. It's Muriel Barbery, The Elegance of the Hedgehog. I got it from my local library on the Kobo, and just read it in about 4 days. It was really easy read, but a smart book and a touching book. I just really liked it all around. The other book I finished was this one, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. Not in this edition. This is the edition that I read in high school. I think this was assigned for maybe 11th grade English class. Hesse was popular. I know we read Damien, I think, for school. I've taught Damien a few times, and I don't think I've read Siddhartha more than once, though. But great book, of course. Hermann Hesse is one of my favorite authors, I'd have to say. And what the version I read was actually, I listened to it, and it's on this app, Insight Timer. And Ralph Eisend, who is a German teacher on Insight Timer, he built a whole course on Insight Timer, which is a meditation app with a lot of other stuff on it. It's my favorite meditation app on the phone. But he set up a whole course here, but the course is basically him reading Siddhartha to you, but it's his own translation of it. He lives in Germany, and he did his own translation of this, and you get to hear the whole book. And I spent many a morning. Mornings are when I regularly meditate, and then I often listen to extra things along the way. And I just got captivated by his reading of it. I think that makes all the difference with an audiobook. If you can find someone who's a good reader of it, you can really attach yourself to. He reads it with such insight and humanity and compassion and emotion. I just thoroughly enjoyed the whole book, and it was great to come back to that book, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. Hesse is great at sort of marrying the West with the East, which is just, I think, something we sorely need, and just a beautiful, beautiful book. So those are the two books that I finished this week. I have one pickup I found at the little library this morning, and this is the Stephen King book, Bag of Bones, which we used to have in this very same edition, and then when we purged somewhere, we're regularly purging books, and I think that didn't make the cut, but I thought this book's in relatively decent shape. It's been read, but I think it would hold up to another reading. I might give this one a shot. I have a memory, my wife read it and generally liked it, and then I think I started to read it and I was liking it, and then I got knocked off course and never came back to it. So I'm going to add it to my Stephen King pile. Let me know your thoughts about Bag of Bones. Is it worth reading or not? This probably won't be a keeper, but I thought, well, I'll borrow it for a while and see how it turns out. Maybe I'll start it this summer. So that's kind of where we're at. I wanted to talk a little bit about some plans for new videos that I'm making. I've got some ideas. The first is maybe I finished the Great Conversation essay doing sort of a bit of a deep dive into that long essay by Robert Maynard Hutchins, and that's in the volume 1 of the Great Books of the Western World set. And at the end of that volume, they have some extra materials about how to approach reading the great books. They give you some ideas for, reading plans and things. So I think I might want to do a video about that. They in particular talk about a 10-year reading plan to work your way through that set of books. And I might do a deep dive into that and take a look at the contents of that reading plan. I also want to do something, I think I'm going to call them book tours, where I'll just give you a volume, like a favorite volumes in the book collection. It might be Penguin Classic, it might be something like this. It might be, some, I have some nice hardcovers on the shelves. Some of those children's classics, I featured Treasure Island in a former video. But I want to do just sort of like feature a particular book and just show you the edition and talk a little bit about pros and cons of that edition and what I like about it. So I might start doing those soon. We'll have to pick a title and get into that. And then I did get some viewer mail, a comment. Someone asked me if I would consider doing like actually read some of these great books. And I thought like sort of in an audiobook style way. So let me know what you think of that. If that is that a good idea? I'm contemplating that. I'm thinking if the books are in the public domain, it might be a nice way to revisit some of these books or some of them for the first time. And if there's an audience out there for that and people like want to listen along while they're reading, or if you're driving and commuting and you want to hear a great book and hear it for free on YouTube, let me know if you think that's a great idea. I'm thinking about it. I'm open to the idea, and we'll see where that goes. But that's some of the irons in the fire, and I have some other things I'm cooking up. I'm finding now more and more time to read and listen to music, which is really cool. I know that summer is here. Things start to slow down a little bit, and we'll see where it goes. So hopefully I'm going to have some more updates for you next week, and maybe another new video or two. Next up is probably going to be that approaches to reading the great books video. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, I hope you subscribe. And I hope everyone's well, and we'll see you back another time.